All right, everybody, welcome back to the 2020 TERRON Open, brought to you by Mando's and MVP Disc Sports. My name is Jared McGlinchey, and I have with me here Tyler Schrock. Hello, Tyler.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. We got the second half coverage here of the tournament at Lake Fenwick. I'd like to take a quick shout out to our coverage sponsors, All Day Disc Golf and Gripped. Beautiful drone coverage brought to you by Kenway Customs. And looks like we're going to start the footage here on hole 10, 295 foot par 3. It is a very difficult hole. Lots of trees, lots of branches. It's tough to poke your way back here to the back basket, but you can get a line here, Tyler.
Yeah, I would say this is one of the signature holes here at Lake Fenwick. You can kind of take a direct route over to the left, or you can go over towards the right where we kind of saw the drone fly.
All the way on the hill, right?
Up first on the tee, I believe we'll have Jerry Randall. Jerry Randall's, of course, local. He knows these lines well. Let's see what he can do on one of the tougher holes here we have.
Absolutely. This is Jerry Randall's first year in Open. And typically he does play up in the age-protected divisions, but he does have 1 win in MP40 and 3 wins so far in MP50. Looks like he got off the tee a little bit tough there.
Yeah, he'll have a really tough second shot. Next up, we have Jon Wills. I believe he has a buzz in his hand here. He'll be going aggressive on this hole.
Yeah, Jon has a very strong arm. It looks like he tried to fight his way through the branches, and as you can see, that is a little bit tough of an angle here. Tyler, what'd you go with on this shot?
I was actually disking up to a fairway driver, so I'm reaching for a volt. I liked my line a lot, but just a little bit too high. I got knocked almost straight down, so I'm only about halfway, maybe 60% of the way to the pin there. This hole can be super demanding. A couple different lines to get to the pin. We'll see Andy going lefty here, trying to throw a little bit of a hyzer. It looked like he got most of the way down there. He might have gotten knocked down just a little bit in the bowl. So here we're going to pick up Jerry's shot. He got kicked over to the left and is actually going to be obstructed by the previous basket and some of the fencing that's on that hole. Let's see if he can make his way out.
Wow, what an athletic shot, even to get out of that nonsense. Let's take a look at a Disc Golf Mando's moment as Jerry just powers through it all the way across the return fairway and back into play. Well done.
In the slow motion there too, you can see he had to avoid that last basket and narrowly missed that fence as well. So he'll have an opportunity to take a look at the basket to try to get up and down. He might even be able to throw in from where he's at. We'll have to see. So I got knocked down to a low spot here. I'm reaching for a fairway driver again, and I'm going to be forced to throw a little bit of a roller shot and try to curl it up towards the pin. Starts to curl a little bit, but I'll have another maybe 80 feet or so left to get to the basket. This hole really has some teeth. It can be pretty tricky there.
I have only personally punched it through to give myself a birdie look about 5 times in my entire 5 years of playing this course.
Yeah, Andy's shot did look like he got knocked down a little bit in the bowl, but he was able to punch up and punch out. So Jerry did a lot of work. His second shot there was really, really good considering the position he's in. So he's at least looking up at the pin. Looks like he's lining up an anode, or excuse me, lining up a proxy. He'll be throwing that up towards the pin. He'll have a little bit left though on his putt, so maybe 25 feet or so.
Well played.
Yeah, I found myself out of position, so I just decided to pitch up. We'll see Jerry here trying to clean up his bogey. Yeah. This hole I was out of position the entire time.
Good save, Jerry.
Jerry's a pretty consistent putter here, and he shows that evident on this putt.
Is that your drive?
Yes, for sure. From where his drive landed, a 4 is a really big accomplishment there. For me here, a little disappointed to be tapping in a 4, but only 1 stroke lost. We'll have to see where John's shot ended up. He apparently ended up in a pretty good spot here.
And Jon Wills looks like he's lining up for his putt. Not a real difficult putt, but hey, on this hole, anytime you get a look from there, that's phenomenal. Great birdie look.
He put a good move on the disc and it fought all the way through. You need a little bit of luck and some skill on this hole to score well. So,
absolutely.
So John with a lone birdie there. He'll be taking the box. Great drive. And we'll move on to hole 11. So hole 11 plays from a little bit of an elevated tee. Probably for most players pulling out a driver or a straight disc of some type. You'll kind of see the large tree that we just flew by as a good visual marker. If you can get by that on either the right or a left, you'll have a good look at the pin. So John will be first up, and he looks like he's put a towel on this pin to get a little bit better traction. He's drifting nicely.
Hell yeah.
And appears to have finished just past that tree. He'll be in a good spot there.
Here we have Andy warming up his disc and his hand, probably.
Yeah, it was a pretty chilly morning here in November.
Gets a great snap, and as you said, using that tree as a reference, gives himself a look.
Yep, anything past that tree definitely gives you a putt. You just want to get something moving kind of a little bit left to right up towards that big tree.
Here we have Jerry with a standstill, which is a little bit unusual, but with the way the basket tee pads were playing this morning, I understand not wanting to put your full momentum into the tee pad. A little bit slippery.
A bit of a damp tee. It tilts a little bit left to right as well, so I think Jerry was trying to alleviate that and kind of overcompensated. So I'm lining up here. I'm reaching for a trace here, trying to get this moving a little bit over to the right, and I put it just a little nose up and hyzer. So I finished a bit off to the left. I don't usually mind being left of the tree, but I ended up just outside the circle out there.
A lot of times you can get yourself a decent look from that left side, as long as you have a clear line to the basket.
Usually.
Jerry with a forehand up rescue shot to give himself a putt.
Yep, he'll be just outside the circle here, looking to try to give this a run.
It's just a tick early. It broke a little bit early on him, but well ran.
All right, Andy's up next here. Looks like he's also at about the edge of the circle. Oh, and just pushes it pro side a little bit too straight. He needed that one to hook up.
You're staring a little bit outside that circle, huh, Tyler?
Yes, I am. I have a few of those little branches in my way too, so I'm forced to put up a little bit of a hyzer putt here to get around him.
And absolutely crushes the putt. Tyler, that's probably a pretty good feeling right there at that moment after that last hole, huh?
Yep, definitely happy to pick one up. Oh, and we'll get the little replay here. Yeah, after having a couple drives that didn't fly well, I realized that I needed to pick up something with the putter to keep John and the chasers away a little bit.
Yeah, and John staying on it, staying consistent, and converts his birdie as well.
10 and 11 are two great birdies to pick up in a row there, so he's starting to shoot pretty hot. The rest of the card has cooled a little bit, but we got about 7 more holes left, so we'll see what's going to be ahead. So just a few tap-ins here from the rest of the card.
And of course, Andy getting his par, and Jerry unfortunate bogey. However, he's a tough competitor. I don't see him giving up much.
Yeah, Jerry has a great attitude. There's fighting him throughout this entire round. So next up, another kind of signature hole here. It's very short, but you'll see some obstructions here. We'll be flying just past a little pole here, which is kind of a marker of halfway down the fairway. And this basket will actually be tucked up to the left in a little bit trickier position. So it's showing the short right position in the drone flyover, but it'll be just up on the mound here to the left where those ferns are.
Yes, you typically want to be a tick to the right of that pole that they showed in the beginning, or a tick to the left, and let that thing break naturally, and you're going to be in pretty good shape most of the time. Ironically, that pole was put there to replace a tree that somebody had pulled the bark off that eventually died. So in order to continue to keep the integrity of that hole, they put the black pole up.
That sticks there. I think you're all right.
So John put a nice move on that. It really is kind of calls for a little putter hyzer that just kind of wraps around the corner the whole time. We'll also see some really tricky ground play around this pin as well. So reminiscent of the first few holes, quite a bit of slope that comes into play here. I'm lining up with just a standstill here with an anode, trying to figure out my best aiming spot, kind of right of that bent tree, somewhere around that post that we flew by. Tried to match that hillside as I go through.
Good stop there. Good stop. Way to maintain focus, Tyler.
Yeah, chilly morning, a little bit of dampness on the tee pads, and I was just trying to talk myself into a good shot. Unfortunately, though, I came a little bit too inside of the gap, and I only made it about halfway to the pin, so I'll have a little bit of work left.
And here we have Andy lining up.
Oh.
And gets
He put a little bit more behind that.
Yep. He threw it a little bit harder than I expected and carried that a little bit further right. And, of course, introduced himself to the tree. And Jerry is one of the most smooth, consistent throwers. And absolutely just manufactures a shot down the fairway.
Yeah, I believe that was his proxy. That's what a good shot on this hole really looks like. Just kind of drifts, kind of pulls right to left the entire way and lands pretty soft.
Tyler, can I take this sign?
Sure, if you want to.
And looks like somebody is taking a souvenir home with them from that hole as well, huh?
Yep, so Ryan Pinney is the artist from there, and his I believe his father, Andy, is the one that took home that sign.
Dang, that was
Right.
pretty.
So, my upshot there was about pin high, but it did kind of nestle and slide down the hill a little bit, so we'll have to see how much of a comebacker I'll have to get my 3 on this hole.
Yeah, Andy lining up a little bit outside that circle.
Yeah.
Trying to navigate through a couple trees, and once again, on that slope, you got to be careful not to get your heart broken there.
Right. Any disc with any pace at all that lands on that slope does not stick. It often makes its way down, unless you catch a fern just like that.
That is a veteran move. Use what's available. Well done, Andy. Way to use the fern to hang onto that disc for you. John lining up.
Yeah, it looks like he's coming from outside the circle, so we'll see if he can make good with this.
Uphill putts are always tough. And because he was trying to overcompensate, he met looked like a little bit of the branch there. Not exactly what he had in mind.
So I'm at about 25 or 27 feet here, kind of with a side hill stance. Just trying to make sure that I get enough height to get it up and over the rim. And I leave it just an inch short, one that I definitely want back. I've putted on this hole many times from all the sides, and that's one you don't want to leave out there.
I'll do it. So
Yeah, before the tournament, I'm sure we all look at this hole, and the next one is a couple that we probably should get. So anytime you don't, it's rough.
Yep. Definitely gave a stroke back to the card, and probably to a lot of the field on that one. All right, so John tapping in here. Oh, he lets that one go to the right. So a short putt, little miss there. Again, this slope, it might show a bit here on video, but in person, the footing becomes an issue and rollaways become an issue quickly on this hole. So it can definitely steal strokes. As we said, Jerry kind of took the classic route to get to this hole, and he makes good on it with his putt.
Yep, smooth release out of him. Very nice player. Plays with most folks around the local scene. And Aaron looks like he went with a unrecommended bank shot off the top of the rim.
Yeah, I believe Andy mentioned that disc, as he was letting it go, just hung completely on a finger, so he didn't release it at all, and it just curled up, kind of up on top of the band there. So he'll have a little bit of a comebacker here just to tap in. Oh my goodness!
That's what we all thought until the basket decided elsewhere. Man, that
I
is
almost want to give that a replay to see what the basket did with that one. It just seemed to completely spit it straight back at him. So a tough stroke to give up there for Andy. We'll see if he can recover as we move into hole 13.
Oh, yes. Hole 13 is a beautiful downhill shot. Basically want to just keep the disc basically over the path until the very last minute where you break left in where you're kind of guarded by about 3 or 4 larger trees, but this is a beautiful shot. If you get a little bit off right, it's easy for you to ricochet into the swamp and get into some hairy mess. So,
yeah, this is a fun hole to throw. It requires quite a bit of touch. You really don't need to throw a disc super hard, but getting it down that path for most of its flight, and like you mentioned, a little bit of hookup can help quite a bit. So Jerry's lining up here with just a putter. He's going pretty direct, and his disc is leaking a little left, but it skips its way up towards the pin. I think he'll be edge of circle there with that effort.
yeah. And it looks like John is going more the traditional route. Unfortunately, he met Mr. Tree.
Yep, he just gets clipped a little bit hanging down the left side. So I'm way overcorrecting from what we saw with those other players. I don't think we'll see my disc finish, but I got a kick kind of diagonally backwards in towards the pond. So I'm going to have
That's
quite a bit of
rough.
work to do to punch through 2 sections of woods to get to the pin.
Andy lining up. Absolutely common shot here to get it a little bit upside and curve into that upper hill area to leave yourself about a 70-80 footer back. But it's guarded back there. It's rough.
Yeah, some players like to punch something a little faster and higher through kind of that canopy as a hyzer to the pin.
All right, looks like Tyler.
I think you hear a laugh from me, so I'm kind of in a bush. I have a few branches that are right in front of me here, kind of forced to go to a knee to find a gap. And what I found was about a 3 foot by 3 foot gap that I kind of had to keep low out of my hand all the way to the pin.
Oh yes, the 1987 Magnavox shot. I'm very familiar, but you did absolutely a phenomenal job getting it through there.
Thanks. Yeah, I was just hoping to get something in the circle, and I was able to punch it all the way there, and it pretty much hit and sat by the pin. So
It looks like
no
John's
stress
going
left with the putt.
with the almost the scoob here, or trying to get
Yeah.
around these guardians.
Finishing short left on this pin, you kind of have some odd, I kind of call them like some trapezoid-shaped gaps to hit. So he kind of went over the top to find some gaps there.
Looks like Andy got a little bit closer than I originally thought.
Yeah, he was
Unfortunately,
forced-
that's a tough putt.
Yeah, forced to kind of throw a nose-up putt there and get it low to high. Unable to connect, but a good effort there for sure.
Will's getting a little bit of redemption from that uphill putt on the last hole, converting for par there. Well
Yeah,
done,
he had
Don.
a bit of a strange reach out there, but a good connection. Definitely a good one to pick up. Again, he's making a run there. He's in sole second place. He's only a few strokes back with a few holes to go, so he's definitely completely fighting through this round.
Squeaker.
Look at that. Jerry, the ambassador of disc golf, earned one with a bank shot right off the basket cage there.
Yep, couldn't have thrown that any shorter and still had it be successful, but hey, he'll take it because he can get it.
Absolutely. All right, look at the form here. Look at the focus and look at the conversion. Well done, Tyler. No shots get taken for granted in disc golf. That is for sure.
Yeah, I took the ugly route to get to that pin. I was just glad to be tapping in, not have to have any stress on the putt. Well, speaking of stress, we're going to move on to hole 14. This is a brand new position, a difficult hole. Hey, and thanks to Fairway Media for their landscaping work on the course. We appreciate it. So as I said, hole 14, pretty tricky. So we're going to go through this initial set of uprights here, and this is where players have a decision. They can take this left gap where the drone is flying. The pin is going to be tucked about another 90 to 95 feet beyond where it is right here, or players can bank off to the right to a little bit more of an opening and chip up to that basket location. Super demanding. It scored close to a par 4 during this tournament, so very interesting hole, demanding tee shot. Let's see what players are going to opt for here.
Yeah, there are a lot of trees you have to navigate on hole 14 in that position. And it is not an easy shot. Most folks, I think, typically go with the turnover backhand. And very commonly, that is the outcome.
Yeah, so Jerry now has the option. He can go either down the left side or down the right side to access this pin. Depending on where he's lined up, he might go either direction. Next up, we have John. He's going with a little bit slower disc, but you'll kind of see he gets a great kiss off of the tree and picks up really most of the distance to get to this pin. So he'll be looking up at it with probably a circle 2 look at the pin.
What are you throwing here? I'm curious.
I'm reaching for a trace, so it's a high-speed disc. This one's beat in, and I thought I was going to successfully follow John there, but I knocked down about a 5-foot branch and get an unfavorable kick back.
Wow.
So Jerry and myself are kind of in the same neighborhood there, and I believe we're going to be taking different routes to get to the pin.
Looks like Jerry's lining up for more of the straight shot right at it, huh?
Yeah. He had a little bit of turn there. I think he wanted that to turn just a bit more to continue working its way to the right. I'm looking just outside of this pine tree here and hoping to get a couple favorable skips here with this line.
That is a tough route to take, and it looks like you absolutely crushed it. Well executed.
Thanks. Yeah, it was able to skip up the hill, and thankfully, too, it stuck. So I'll have maybe 20, 22 feet left, kind of an uphill look at the pin.
Yeah, Andy's got a downhill about 65-footer. However, it's not that bad of a lie up there. You usually get a couple of good looks and good run opportunities from that position.
Both he and Jerry will be above the pin, and here we have John's bid. Really, he put that basket high just a little bit right as it flew up to the pin, so he'll be tapping in a 3. So both Andy and Jerry will have a look down at this pin here to save their 3. Oh, another close look, just a little bit low on that bid. It looks like Jerry's a bit closer, but he might have a few more obstructions.
This is where that length and that tall frame will help him out, because you can navigate around that a little bit more and give yourself a look. Unfortunately, left it short. And a beautiful putt out of you, sir. Uphill is never easy, and put it right in the middle of the basket.
Yep, I gave the basket a little high five there. I caught just a little bit of the underside of the rim there, so I was happy that it decided to stick. Those often will get kind of a weird bounce out. And John with a routine tap in for par. A 3 is a great score on that hole. In a little bit of casual play after this, you'll see the occasional 2 on this hole, but really a 3 is what most players are going to be pretty happy with on that.
It takes a phenomenal shot to poke through. So here we have hole 15. You have a Mando left and right, straight through. You have a little bit of a swamp on the right-hand side, so you have to get through this main gap here and breaks to the right. There are 2 main channels, the inside gap and the outside gap. Folks can either do a backhand or a forehand. They're both open, and they're both able to get a birdie look from both sides. So we'll see what folks choose to do. It looks like John is lining himself up for a backhand, maybe a inside turnover shot.
Yeah, he gets a nice turn early, but he unfortunately breaks maybe just a bit too soon, and yeah, gets knocked down a little bit early in flight there.
Yeah, that inside route is a little bit more contested. What do you think you should throw here?
I'm reaching for a pretty beat disc, but I started on quite a bit of hyzer. So as we can see here, I straighten out and pretty much have an eye for the camera lens the whole way there. So my eclipse axis didn't break over to the right. I just shot a laser straight. So I'm pin high, and I think I scared the cameraman a little bit. Sorry about that, Justin.
Yeah, he's a consummate professional, but realistically, you left it in a decent spot. You still have a look, and it looks like Jerry is going for the big high turnover and was introduced to some unfriendly branches.
Yeah, for sure. I think I like Andy's play here. He'll be swinging in a hyzer from the left side, swinging it back towards the right, towards the pin. And looking pretty perfect. Yeah, really being able to shape a shot left to right is the name of the game here. Not many forehands in our card, but I'm guessing in other groups, forehands would be pretty popular.
That is a pretty popular throw, the forehand with either a Firebird, Raptor, or something overstable like that, and get it to skip back to the basket to give yourself a putt. But here we have Jerry going with a tomahawk almost, or?
Yeah, great scramble shot there. Whatever that was, super effective to get over quite a bit of the shrubbery there.
John really focusing. He really wants this one, you can tell.
Yep, he's on the hillside. He's looking down at it, so he does have the green light to give it a bid. Ends up just kind of laying up by the pin. Not a bad look at all. So I'm about basket high, but I'm kind of up on a hillside. I'll have kind of an awkward angle to kind of send this down. Not great footing up there either.
I'm sure you throw about 150 of these downhill, uphill putts in practice, right, Tyler?
I wish I had at this point. It was a kind of an awkward spot. I think I'm getting razzed by Justin in the audio there. Yeah, it was a tough, awkward bid there from my side.
Andy lining up for a birdie here. Hopefully this will convert.
Yeah, he's had a couple tough breaks on the putting green. Good to see one fall for him. Good birdie to pick up. Plenty of obstructions on that one. Tough to get a disc all the way to the pin and even past it.
And an easy conversion out of Mr. Randall.
I'm happy about
Or at
that.
least that's the way he made it look. After that tough drive, anytime you can get a 3 after that, that's a great scramble. And a phenomenal par conversion out of you, Tyler.
Yep, just cleaning these up. Next, we're moving to what I would say is probably another pretty difficult hole. Some interest coming on hole 16. Another kind of opportunity to open up the drives a little bit and see what we can do.
Yes, hole 16. You have to drive it across and keep it in between the first couple of guardian trees. Once you do, it opens up. Gives you a little bit of a line gap if you can avoid those trees, but it is definitely a hard straight pull all the way back, and you have that last big tree there to kind of stop you from
So our
easy
tee shot is tucked over to the left side here, so really you want to get it up and through the gap and get some flex going. This is a tee shot that I know every player on this card wants to hit, but also we're all going to be relieved if we can just punch something through and get some forward progress kind of over top of this immediate gap that's right in front of us here.
Yeah, about halfway down the fairway, there is a specific tree that does have a tendency to get right in the way. And like you say, most folks just want to poke it through and get a nice second shot. And Andy looks like he has absolutely done that.
Good.
Poked it all the way through.
Yeah, a great looking pull. Looked like he put a really good line on that. I think if anything, maybe just a tiny bit more turn, but that's what a good shot on this hole really does look like. Kind of flexing over to the right and just a little bit of hookup towards the end.
And John throwing another flex shot. A big arm out of Jon Wills.
No, it's short.
But
Yep.
it looked like he chose to finesse this one a little bit and
Yeah,
left
he's-
himself pretty nice.
He swung it off to the right, and then it looked like it either kicked or slid its way back to the left a little bit there at the end. I'm reaching for the same trace that I've thrown on a few other holes. Really nice and flippy, wants to get up and get moving. I'm just trying to punch it through that gap and get it turning over to that right side a little bit.
Well, parked the right pin.
Looks like you got what you wanted, and then even got a little bit of an assist from that tree there at the end to kick you back towards the basket.
Yeah, I think I lost a little bit of speed there, so I'll have maybe 90, 100 feet left after kind of catching that branch and being slowed down a little bit. Not too bad of a spot. There's plenty of trouble on this hole. We've all managed to avoid it so far. Let's see if Jerry can punch one through the uprights and head towards the green.
That's not good.
Oh, unfortunate luck there out of Jerry. That is a tough tree. I thought he was going to make it through there.
Yeah, it didn't.
I believe, yes, he did at least clear that kind of thick area that's right behind him. There's plenty of ferns and underbrush, but he's made it to an area with some kind of open air.
No.
Unfortunately, he
Not
does
that
not
far.
swing that hyzer quite wide enough, so he only progresses about 50 feet.
Get in it.
And Jerry opts for the, once again, use swan dog approach and lands absolutely parked.
Yeah, this green has a nice kind of little kind of bowl shape in that corner a little bit, so it can be kind of forgiving on your upshots if you get it up there. I'm trying to give this a little bit of a run. I feel like I have kind of a backstep there, so I was seeing if I could get it chain high and moving in kind of soft.
What do you typically putt with?
I both putt and throw anodes, so a pretty neutral disc, a lot like an Aviar or a Luna or something along those lines.
Got it. John looks like he got himself a birdie look here. Lining up to putt, I'd say from just about 35. And converts all the way from Lake Tapps, Washington. I don't know if he's had a bigger putt since the 2010 Cool Shoes Invitational. Let's take a look again at this Disc Golf Mando moment.
Great shot. Yeah, an edge of circle pickup from near the end of the round. Those always feel good. We've all missed out on a few birdies here. That's a great one for him to pick up.
Absolute crush that putt. Beautiful shot. Well done out of Jon Wills. Put a little bit of pressure. Are you feeling it at this moment, Tyler?
I don't believe at this point I had checked scores. I might have checked them just on the next tee pad here when we're getting to 17. I was trying to do my best to kind of just focus on playing the courses I know how. So I like to not worry about numbers too much until it really is just at the last couple holes.
Fair enough. Looks like Andy's got not a good look left-handed putt or right-handed putt and opts for the forehand flip.
Yeah, that forehand worked well for him early in the round, about hole 2. That one he did not cash in on, though. But he will have a nice tap-in par there.
And Mr. Randall, unfortunate bogey here as well. The thing is about Jerry, you never can tell whether it's a 15 down or a 15 over round. He's just smooth and steady.
Yeah, Jerry was razzing me a little bit there, giving me a hard time after my tap in there. We've played quite a few rounds together out here at Fenwick, so it was good to play with him in a tournament. So on to hole 17. While it's only 325 feet, you'll see quite a few obstacles that we have here in the way. So we have a double Mando early, a single Mando late, and a shot that really forces the disc that moves right to left the entire way to the pin.
Oh, yes, Mr. Wills' brother, Mike, representing Team Cram and Fairway Media. Well done.
Yeah, he likes it. Just
So a few shout-outs here on hole 17. Yes, both Jon Wills and Andy Pinney are competing against their brothers at this tournament. They both were up on their brother by 1 stroke going into this round, earning them a spot on the lead card. So congratulations to the younger brothers beating out their older brothers for that. And also a shout-out to our the course chicken, who has lived on the course for a few weeks. He has since, or excuse me, she has since been adopted to a loving home. So shout out to the course chickens. Shout out to families everywhere that are out here watching this.
Why there's a chicken here?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a tough shot. This is a difficult shot because the tee pad points you out to the right side, and if you follow the tee pad, you're gonna throw and miss the Mando. You have to get yourself into that late Mando on the left side of that shot. It's awkward.
Yeah, and the basket right now is out of frame all the way to the left. So John's kind of trying to push a hyzer in there, but catches one of the early trees. He'll have some tough scrambling to go. I'm lining up another trace, so a disc with some flip. Trying to put it on a deep hyzer and see if I can shape it down there.
Yep. And you look like you did exactly that.
Nice shot, Tyler.
Yep, I was pleased with that one. That was the first really sharp feeling drive that I'd had in a few holes, so happy to have a look. And I should hopefully be edge of circle on this hole.
And Andy was introduced to Mr. Treebark himself, and unfortunately, I don't think he liked the introduction.
Yeah, both he and John will kind of have a tough scramble there, looking down at the pin. Jerry's going a bit more inside here. I don't know if that's his intended line, but it should work out okay. He'll have a little bit of a scramble to go, but he's at least 50 to 60% of the way to the pin.
Yeah, that's an interesting line to take it through that little bit of a U tree.
Don't you peck my lens. He came straight for
Looks
it.
like the chicken wants to throw something. Unfortunately, we didn't have a disc for that chicken to throw off the tee pad, so we ended up giving it some food.
That was also a cameo there by our photographer, Preston Boyd. Shout out to him. He does a lot of good disc golf photography in the region, so we're hoping to have him out to some future tournaments. So thanks a lot to Preston for coming out to this event.
And Andy's lining up and takes the inside route and barely nicks that weird little U stump. And I think he's going to leave himself pretty nice.
The man of his word.
Yeah, he's avoided most of the obstructions there. Hopefully he has a nice, clean look towards the pin. So this fairway drops off after this kind of Y tree here, but then there's a large downed log right in front of the pin that kind of blocks shots at about 35 feet or so that we can see in that camera.
And there it is. Yep, there's the blocker log. Jerry lines up a putt and gives himself a really good look at it. Not a surprise, he is a smooth delivering disc golfer these days.
Yeah, he flashed chains for a moment there, but he drops right in front of it. So my shot got caught up in these ferns here, so I got about pin high, and I'm at just outside of the circle here, trying to see if I can line one up. This would be for a big 2 here for me. And I pushed it just a little bit too straight on that bid.
That's all right. You had a backstop there, and well played on that to not leave yourself too much of a long run comeback. And Andy converts from what, 55? Good Lord, over the tree. He is a crusty veteran from the area. He just doesn't get a chance to play too many tournaments these days. Look at this.
Yeah, I'm glad we're getting to see the
Mando's
replay here. So he has to make it over the log early, over the ferns late, and converting from outside the circle. Super technical putt. Great completion there to pick that one up.
Yeah.
So John's lining up what looks like a turbo, seeing if he can recreate his magic back from hole 4. We'll see if he can cash in. Oh, great bid. Just pushes it a little left of the pin there. He'll have
Looks
a little
like
bit of a comebacker here.
He wanted a little bit lower and more right, but he's got a nice smooth delivery on the comeback. Take his medicine and move on to 18.
Yep, that curls around the basket a little bit, but he does make good on that. And I've left myself here maybe 18 feet here on the comebacker.
Dead center. Not often that misses.
Just the yellow of his hat right in the background got me for half a round.
And Jerry also with the tap-in conversion. And we get to move on to hole 18.
That's a good drive.
All right, here on hole 18, pretty short hole. It's going to wrap over to the left here, but what we're going to see here in a moment is kind of a beautiful structure here on the course. So this was built by our course designers. Again, shout out to Terry and Ron. They helped put Fenwick in the ground. Thanks also to our hole sponsors and everybody who made this tournament possible. Thanks to Fairway Media for coming out. Hole 18 is a fun little finishing shot here. Not quite an ace run, but one that we all want to put nice and close as we finish up our round.
Yeah, when you're looking at this layout, everybody wants to get 18.
Thanks,
It's
Justin.
one of those ones we want to get.
Thanks, Fairway Media.
Everybody dapping
Thanks,
up
Fairway Media. Appreciate it.
And there's another cameo with Preston, our photographer, as well. So this hole is pretty elevated, and our tee-pad is tucked over to the side. So you want to throw a nice hyzer that just stalls and might either skip or bounce left a little bit.
Looks like Andy's doing the last little bit stretch there. Really focusing on getting this disc in the proper position.
He's got to work twice as hard to be loose because he's been throwing with both arms.
And decides to go with the inside route. So he went with the ace run. I think he probably wants that one back, though.
Yeah, it can be easy to go a little bit long on this hole. You want to put enough on the hyzer to get it there, but sometimes you straighten it out a little bit and pick up a little too much distance.
Let's
I'm
see,
reaching
what
for a
disc did you go
resistor
for?
here, and I leave it quite a bit long there, so a little bit of tournament arm in play, putting the disc a little farther down the fairway than I wanted to.
And here is the smooth criminal himself, Jerry Randall. That's right, folks. He has a 43-inch vertical back in the day, and he might need all of it for this elevated basket.
Oh, he catches that last tree. If he can beat that, he'll be parked right at the base of that pin position there.
Looks
All
like
right.
Jon Wills lining up here for his final tee.
Yep, right now going into this pin, he has me by 1 stroke on this round, so I did take a look at the scorecard, and he is quite a bit closer going into this green, so we'll see how things shake out for this round. Thankfully, I came in with a few stroke lead to get us started. Here we have a few Fenwick locals kind of looking on as we're finishing up this round.
A lot of those guys that they have shown have put hundreds of hours into this course to make it what it is. Corey McCarthy and Todd, and then all the guys down at Fenwick do a beautiful job.
Yeah, huge shout out to those folks and all the people who have made this possible. So I give this kind of a half-hearted bid here, and thankfully I check up to about 10 feet. Andy is down a little bit, down the kind of slight slope there, so he's looking even higher up at the pin. Oh, gives it a great bid. Thankfully he sticks nice and close to the pin there.
Jerry Randall's from the fern percentage is pretty high this year. I would say well over 71%.
Yeah, he's giving himself a look. A nice bid, just doesn't quite get the nose up high enough to make it over the rim.
If he would have used some of that vertical, I think he would have been happier. But he gets the par.
He made that putt look so easy, and I can tell all the viewers at home, that is not an easy putt to stare straight up at a pin like that.
No, you're legitimately staring up about 12 to 15 feet.
Yeah, much harder than making a free throw in basketball. This is a much smaller target in a tough spot.
And Jon Wills converts.
I was clapping him out there because I knew he converted and won that hot round there. So he's taking home a little gift card there to Mando's. Thanks for Mando's for sponsoring that. So Andy's got to look at a putt straight above him.
And even from that position, the height can cause you problems. It really can. I've seen it hundreds of times. It is brutal.
Yeah, so in the blue jacket there, that's Ron. He's one of the course designers. He actually tied for, let's see, he tied for, I believe, one of the hottest rounds of the day on this course. So he had quite a day. He took home the crown in MP60.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and he puts in countless hours. Obviously, the TERRON that was put in place to honor both Terry and Ron, the two main guys that organize everything around here at Fenwick Disc Golf Course. All right.
And for me, that taps in my par. I believe I ended the round at about 2 down for the day. Huge shout out to Fairway Media, all the supporting sponsors.
And thanks MVP
Tyler
Disc Sports
Schrock.
and Mando's Pro Shop for making this season possible. We'll see you all in the next one.
The winner of your 2020 TERRON. I haven't had a prouder moment, Tyler, since the 2015 CLE Rock. And I believe you took first. I believe that was your first intermediate win. So congratulations.
I might take you back even just a little bit before that. There's been a couple in the record books. One way back in West Virginia. I believe it would have been a tournament at, oh wow, I can't even remember the course. We'll have to put it in post-production here, but I had one way back in the day before I was a PDGA member, but I've really enjoyed these tournaments this year. Thanks a lot to Fairway Media for covering this event. Thanks to all the folks at Lake Fenwick, Mando's, MVP, and glad to feature the chicken here as well.
Yes.
Some local fun here. Hope to see you all out at some local events. Any parting thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to Mando's. They're a phenomenal sponsor. And thank you to the local Fairway Media sponsors, All Day Disc Golf and Grips. And hopefully we'll hear and see you guys here on the next round.
Absolutely. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow everything Fairway Media. Thanks, Justin. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you in the next one.